What's up, YouTube? Pluto back here with another first Descendant build video. I am free to play, so I do have to grind for all these myself, so that is why it took a little bit longer to get these out. And I went ahead and grinded for a couple things so that I could try to streamline with a couple videos and just get them out for you guys. But the person we're gonna be looking at today is Lepic. I cannot wait to grind for this guy. It took me about 4 or 5 days to get him. And after grinding with him and maxing him up and getting him all the way to max, he's quickly jumped to my #1 Descendant when it comes to bossing. He is so powerful and so strong. If you're looking to get those 8-second clears on almost all of the bosses in the game, you're going to want to grind for this Descendant. And then we'll go ahead and jump into his character summary. We'll look at his first ability, which is just a standard grenade that you throw. Right out the gate, it doesn't seem like too strong, too crazy, but it does scale really nicely with skill power as it's already super high. And then when you combine it with his 2 ability, it leaves a burn on the enemies, and you can use some of your mods to increase how hefty the burn is. So the combination, you want to use the 2 ability before you throw the grenade. Mainly, you just want to be using your 2 ability a lot. If you can, you just want to try to have uptime at it. So if you're throwing your grenades, they're powerful as they can be. Since we talked about his 2 ability, which is overclock, what this does is it applies a burn effect to all of your abilities. And this burn effect can be scaled with different mods and stuff like that. And with Lepic being a fire mod and this being a burn, you can put fire mods on Lepic that will also boost this as well. You'll see when we dive into the builds. His 3rd ability, which is going to be, I found out to be one of my favorites, especially for mobbing, his traction grenade. What this does is it pulls everything in the radius to the center. And as it's being pulled, the enemies can't shoot, can't move, can't do anything. So they're essentially taken out of the battle until it's done and over with. Really, really great for mobbing, especially mobbing with teams. His 4th ability, this is the powerhouse of Lepic. This is the thing that makes Lepic be able to get those 8-second kills. What this does is it turns his arm into a unique weapon, basically like a cannon. Have you ever seen like Samus or Metro? That's essentially what it is. Super sick. I love it. And this ability, it has 2 sets of attacks. It has the initial attack when it lands, and then it has like an AoE aura attack after it shoots and after it lands, and that will continue to do damage. And that's where you'll pick up the burn and you'll get the modifiers from your burn from. With that being said, let's dive into our builds. So we're going to look at our bossing build first. This is going to be our bossing build setup. The weapons and stuff don't really matter. I'll pretty much always run Devotion and the Afterglow. These are my 2 favorite secondary weapons. This one I slot in and out depending on what my reactor is, so it's not as important, but I have a video for the Devotion, and the Devotion is really gross. I'm currently working on my Afterglow. As you see, I need 1 more. So I'm probably going to try to grind that out and get that out for you guys as well. But over here, we're going to go over to our reactor. This is like the main component of the setup. The weapon's not as important. But the reactor, you want to have a weapon that matches the mounting of your reactor so you can get that 160%. And what you're looking for is tech boost here. And one of the 2, for me, the 2 best things you can get, especially since Lepic, for me, I don't use him for mobbing or anything. He's mainly just a boss character. What I was looking for was additional skill attack. Additional skill attack when attacking Colossuses and skill critical hit damage. You could have went for crit rate, but crit damage just ends up being better, in my opinion. These are the 2 best things you can get on your reactor. So what I would suggest is if you get a reactor that rolls either one of these, just go farm the weapon. It'll be a little bit easier. Then moving on from our reactor, it's nothing too special here. We're just going to rock the full Slayer set so we can get all of those juicy bonuses and that extra 26% skill power, which is massive. And all you're really doing is just trying to get a Slayer set with a couple of these stats on it. For the first one, I was looking for MP recovery out of combat and max HP so I can have survivability. And the way MP recovery out of combat works, when you shoot your 4 ability, if you shoot it right before the battle starts, you'll regenerate some of your mana so you can have a longer duration on your 4 and have less mana, but you'll still be able to use your entire 4. And then on our sensor, we were just, again, continuing with the MP. We wanted max MP. I think you can get MP recovery here, too. That's the one that we're looking for. We're still farming for it. Been farming for about 2 weeks trying to get the perfect God roll. Still haven't got it yet. This is the best I can get. But if you had to pick one, max MP is what you're looking for here. And the same thing for here. You just want an MP recovery modifier. The other one's not so as important. as long as you can get an MP recovery modifier, because that's how much MP you get back. And then for your processor, it's not as important. I just went for max shields and then toxic resistance. That was the god roll that I think I could get. And then we're going to hop over to our mobbing setup. Lepic is a little bit more of a difficult character, unlike Bunny. I think you're going to need two completely different setups for your reactor and your external components. That's why you see I have the Thunder Cage over here. These two weapons are still the same, but I have the Thunder Cage because it matches the mounting of the reactor that I got. And for your mobbing reactor, you're going to want something with gold skill cooldown. You can, less probably won't do it, but gold is what I found to be like the perfect amount. Right as your grenade ends, you have like 0.2 seconds till you get your next one, so you're able to throw your next one out. So skill cooldown is what you're looking for on your mobbing reactor. The other stuff's not as important, but skill cooldown is the most. And then we're going to go to our components. This is where we're going with our mobbing build. We're looking for more survivability. We want to be able to throw those grenades out for our teammates, be able to pull mobs in, just let everybody have a chill time while they're playing with us. So just like before, we're going to go with MP recovery out of combat because it does help inside the missions. You'll notice it as you're playing. You'll see that you have more MP just by getting out of combat. And getting out of combat also isn't tremendously hard to do. I think it takes like 10-15 seconds to be considered out of combat. So you can just go get out of combat and your mana recovers super fast. What we were looking for here on our auxiliary power, we wanted max HP and MP recovery, just like before. And then our sensor, we wanted max MP and MP recovery in combat. This is a god roll almost. If I could just get either one of these purple, like say I have max MP purple, if I could get MP recovery purple, I'd be super happy. I wouldn't feel the need to grind anymore. But because it's blue, I'm going to go back and grind and try to get it gold or purples for both of them. And then we're going to go with the Annihilation set so we can just get that skill duration. This is what allows our 3 to last long enough to roll into the next one. And this is all you need is 5.7, so this is where we picked it up here. And then we're just looking for defense on this one just so we can be a little bit more tanky. And then we took MP recovery modifier just because more MP is always better. And then like before, we just went with the Annihilation processor. The processor is, the rolls you can get on it are kind of meh. They're not super great, so we just went with what we like, max shields and toxic resistance. It's just the best that we think we can get. We're going to dive into the mob setup because we were just talking about it and it'll just be a little easier. We're going to have Firearm Master. This is the main Transcendent mod you'll be using for both of the builds. What this does is when you reload, it increases your skill range, and when you change your weapon, it increases your skill power. We don't take advantage as much of the changing weapons with the mob build because we're not pulling out our 4 as much. And if you guys didn't know, when you pull out your 4, that's considered as changing your weapon. So that's where you pick up just inherently pick up the skill power from this mod. But with our mobbing setup, we're not using our 4 as much. We do use it on bosses sometimes, so we do get the extra damage from that. But we're mainly using our 3 ability, which is our traction grenade. We're wanting to throw it out and pick up as much enemies as possible. As you can see, I have my cooldown all the way down to a 6.2. And our duration is to a 3.8. And our radius at default without the reload modifier is 17.3, which is massive. And when you reload, it just extends it even more. The main thing about this build is you're going to want to get your cooldown as almost as low as I have mine, and you're wanting your duration to be pretty high as well. The duration is already low, so it's kind of hard to scale the duration out to be able to get that much. You get more from your cooldown than you do duration. But I already used all the cooldown mods, so I do have to use some duration mods to be able to bring that up so that we can have a constant 100% uptime on our traction grenade, which is our main mobbing ability. And with Firearm Master being our thing and reloading increases our range, we didn't need many range mods, so we just went with one here, skill expansion, and that's enough to, when you reload your weapon and throw your stuff out with this, you pretty much cover an entire room. And then after that, we wanted to get at our cooldowns as low as we could, so we went with Nimble Fingers, MP Conversion, to really pull those cooldowns as low as we could get them. And then we wanted to increase our duration because, as you can see, we'll have two duration mods, but they don't increase it that much because it already is so low at the beginning. But this is enough to push it up to where I think we ended up with like 0.7 seconds of downtime with no traction grenade out, which is pretty low. In the future, we could probably get it a little lower depending on what they add to the game, but I feel like that's about the best we can do right now. skill extension for more duration, and then we're going to have our survivability with battle stamina, which also gives us a little more skill duration. And as you can see, we have three skill duration mods, and we only go from 2 seconds to 3.8 combined with the annihilation set. So you can kind of see that it doesn't scale as well because the number's already so low. And we have nimble fingers for more cooldown, MP conversion for more cooldown. You take the max MP hit here, but you pick up the max MP from your, like your modules, your components, and stuff like that. And then we just do a focus on fire to increase our fire skill power and further decrease our skill cooldown. As you see, this build is mainly focused on getting your skill cooldown as low as possible so that you can throw out that traction grenade. As long as you're throwing out the traction grenade consistently, any raid, dungeon, whatever you're in, the mobs aren't going to be able to do anything at all. So it's going to feel very easy, very relaxed for the whole, not just for you like Bunny, but for the whole team. And then another thing we have to focus on this mod is when I was running, I found out that we didn't have enough MP to constantly spam out the traction grenades like we wanted to. Sometimes the mobs wouldn't drop enough. You wouldn't get full MP off their drops. So we went ahead and slotted MP collector in here, and this made the build a dream. You constantly have the traction grenade. You're almost never worried about running MP. You can just spam traction grenade over and over and over and over. And to get out of jail, and like I said, as long as the traction grenade is going out and it's pulling stuff in, whatever's being pulled can't hit you, can't damage you, can't do nothing. So you're essentially safe. It's basic. Like I said, Lepic has become one of my most enjoyable mob clearing characters because with Bunny, I'm just running through, just killing everything. But with Lepic, I feel like I'm actually playing with the team. I'm helping the team out. I can go in a room, throw down my traction grenade, pull all the mobs to the center of the room. We just wipe that wave real quick. I throw down another traction grenade, pulls them all in again, and we wipe them out again. And it's just kind of more of a team character. Really fun. I really enjoy this build. I found myself playing with this quite a lot. Next, we're going to talk about our bossing build. This is the reason why I wanted to grind for Lepic myself and why I think everyone watching this video should go out and grind or get Lepic however they choose for themselves. This character is going to be a staple in your lineup of Descendants, especially if you want to see some of those solo 10-second boss kills and you want to farm more efficiently. I personally think it's easier or more efficient to farm some of the Colossus by yourself, especially if you're trying to get some components. Especially if you have Lepic. Lepic makes everything basically a cakewalk, just a walk in the park. And to start out with the build, we're going to talk about our crit mods and in general. And we'll side note away from this. If you had to go Pluto, what mods out of the build should I 100% go to first? I would grind these mods up first. Like I say, if you don't have much gold or much Kuiper, these 4 mods are probably going to go in almost every Descendant that you build just going forward because they're the crit mods. And for me, they're becoming a staple in all my builds. You're going to look at frontlines, skill insight, skill concentration, and emergency measures. And what these mods combine to do is they boost your skill critical hit damage up to 200% and crit rate up to 200%. So having all 4 of these combined is just a massive increase in your damage. So like kind of TLDR, if you had to get mods, these are the 4 mods that I would go for first, just so that you can use them throughout all your Descendants if you're trying to be a little bit efficient with your money. And then next, we're going to look at, we have MP acceleration. This is to increase our duration and to bring up our max MP because we want to have enough MP to be able to shoot all of our shots with the duration of our cannon. That's kind of the fine line that you're walking here with this character. And to further increase our duration for our cannon, since we have a lot of MP build up, we're just doing skill extension, which is more duration, 36%. And to move on from that, we start picking up pick up 1 mod for survivability of the character, which is HP amplification. There is a negative to this, as it does remove your shields, but shields in this game, unless you're a character that just is meant to be built around shields kind of suck. So taking a 36% hit on your shield on something that's already pretty bad anyways is kind of a no-brainer. And the only one you could replace that with is a regular HP mod, but you're getting 218% versus 27. You get a little bit of extra HP, but you get to keep your shield. So if you want more survivability, I would switch that out with increased HP, just the standard blue mod instead of the purple mod. But for me, I think since Shields kind of suck and they get blown out in like one shot anyways. The extra 3 or 400 HP I have is worth more than the extra 3 or 400 shields. So that's why I went with HP amplification. And after that, we're going to go on to our boosting mods that are going to boost our power up. We have Technician to further boost our skill power modifier. I found this, it helps a lot with the burn. This is not necessarily for your abilities because all of his abilities have such high skill power modifiers to begin with. But this helps the burn tick a little bit higher and do more damage. Because remember, your 2 applies a burn to your grenade and your 4 ability. And this will increase the burn of it. And then we have just another skill power boosting mod, just a fire. Since Lepic is a fire descendant, we went with the fire mod to boost his fire abilities. And then we have the mod, which is basically like the powerhouse to our boss setup. This is what allows you to really achieve those like sub 10-second times. And the way this mod works is how all of the Colossus works. They have like a cone in front of them, which is like their line of sight, how they see you. And so as the fight starts, if you go to the side or the back of the Colossus, you can get 2 to 3 shots out before they ever even turn to you. So you get to pick up on that 24%. And sometimes that is just enough damage with Lepic to bring it to a down state. And as soon as it drops to that down state and you keep shooting, you immediately get that 49%, which is a huge boost. And for most mobs, except for Gluttony, the new one that they just added, most of the bosses can't really survive past being the down state with Lepic because he just does so much damage. I think you're pumping out like millions and millions with each shot. I'll throw a clip up real quick to show you what I'm talking about, show you some of the damage numbers. And the last mod we have here, which is going to be our Firearm Master, the same Transcendant mod from our mod build. This is an Ultimate Lepic exclusive mod. But in my opinion, if you're grinding for any of the characters, it's fine to grind out the non-ultimate characters, but you should really try to save all your materials and everything for the ultimate version of the character. Because they do have mods like this that are just better than the standard Lepic, or just the standard character. And unlike with the mobbing build, we didn't take advantage of the changing weapon to increase our skill power. But we will with this one because we're going to be using our 4 ability for damage. And when you actually switch out to your 4 ability, that counts as changing weapons. So you do get the increase in skill power from that. Now that we've talked about our mods and our build setup all together, there's a couple extra things you can do to juice out just a little bit of extra damage from your build. One thing you need to know is that your 4 ability is tied to the fire rate of your weapon. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to get it, whatever you're mounting for your reactor is, you're going to want to get sharp precision shot for that. And what sharp precision shot does is the longer you hold down your gun, the faster you shoot. And what that allows is in your 4 ability, if you consistently hold down the trigger the entire time, you're able to get 2 to 3 extra shots out than you normally would. And the last tip I have for you guys is when you pull out your cannon, you don't want to just pull it out like this because by the time you're able to shoot, you're about 25% of the way, all the way through your cannon. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to roll to cancel that animation. And what that's going to do, that's going to give you more time to shoot your cannon inside your duration. So you were able to get a whole 2 extra shots off, while if you would have waited for your cannon to come out, you'd still be waiting while we're shooting 2 shots. If you made it this far, I want to thank you guys all for the likes and the subscribers and the support you guys give me. I am free to play, so I do have to dump a lot of time into this. I think I'm about 600-700 hours deep into the first Descendant. So if you guys wouldn't mind dropping a like and a sub on this video. And thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.